Erica Lorraine Spencer here. This is the P.O.C, Pattern of Conduct, real-time documentation of the state of California's criminal pattern of conduct of federal stalking in concert with the people of the state of California in violation of existing federal law, that is 18 U.S.C. section 2261A, subsection 1 and subsection 2. This is ongoing documentation that is specifically gathered following my release from kidnapping by this entity that was ceaselessly monitoring in violation of 18 U.S.C. and in violation of Title 15 and in violation of the Prison Rape Elimination Act, as I was subject to the same exact criminal pattern of conduct while kidnapped by this entity seeking to conceal this criminal system that I am documenting and publishing and exposing on the venue of the internet, where I am also subject to the criminal pattern of conduct, and understand that kidnapping is the pattern of conduct that is criminal obstruction of justice, as the entity seeks to avoid prosecution and to avoid documentation and exposure for engaging in this criminal system. The people of the state are the vicarious aspect of the entity. They are engaging in federal stalking as I am kidnapped by the state inside of the state facilities, all right? And they are fully engaging in kidnapping upon criminal summoning. So this is the this is the entity from beginning to the end engaging in the criminal acts of the federal stalking and the acts of criminal obstruction of justice. This is also documentation on the venue of the internet engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct via obstruction of justice, and this is in any way reducing or removing the ability to publish the ongoing documentation of the state's criminal pattern of conduct, which is waging an ongoing threat to my life as I remain subject to this criminal system. And this is the criminal pattern of conduct on the venue of the internet, okay? And that is the totality of what I have documented since release. I was kidnapped from June 18, 2021 from third-party facilitating venue of the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, where the Ontario Police Department were monitoring, and this in conformity to the ongoing wealth of documentation that I have already published, specifically revealing the Ontario Police Department engaging in monitoring and kidnapping, which was via the assertion of a fictitious warrant pursuant to a fictitious prosecution. That is the people of the state of California v. Erica Lorraine Spencer, case number Mary Wendy Victor 2000640. I was subject to kidnapping pursuant to this fictitious prosecution, documentation on the facility cameras everywhere that I was inside of the facility of West Valley, located at 9700 Etiwana Avenue in the city of Rancho Cucamonga, California, and at the state facilitating venue of the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court, located at 8303 Haven Avenue in the city of Rancho Cucamonga, and I was subject to federal stalking ceaselessly at the jail, at the courthouse, in the courtrooms, okay? The same exact pattern of conduct ceaselessly underway. The kidnapping serves obstruction of justice, and that this is kidnapping that I endured from June 18th, 2021 up until August 16th, 2021. This is the P.O.C.
It is 7:02 a.m. and I just want to document that ongoing behavioral pattern of pacing, and the state does it via aircraft, and so the state is patrolling like it does everywhere else that I'm going. So right now at the museum, at essentially every 90 seconds, the state engages in flying at a low elevation in these commercial-sized airplanes at an exceptionally loud volume. This is called patrolling. And this is exactly what I capture on video and on my podcast, what the state is doing over the 280 North Limit Apartments as I sit there. All right, this is exactly what I've captured, as I have said at, for example, Ontario Town Square, and the state is flying over me at the Ontario Town Square all day long, and not just over the Ontario Town Square, the position where I am located at the Ontario Town Square, that's where the state is flying over. That is patrolling. It is demonic pacing in an aircraft, and secondly, it is the ongoing monitoring conduct, and this is pursuant to what is ongoing harassment, doing so at this early hour, and this is long-term documentation. I've documented what the state does. For example, when I was in the vehicle in front of 630 North Fern Avenue a couple days ago, and I documented how the state engaged in flying repeatedly in helicopter early in the morning because the state was ready for me to get up. This is the pattern by the state. This is analyzed as what is ongoing harassment, which is inherent to the pattern of conduct. And I just want to document the state is using, just like I showed in video yesterday, using UPS and using Alaska Airlines and using Southwest Airlines, and the state is patrolling. That's what that's called, repeatedly crossing paths at exceptionally amplified loud volume while it is monitoring. And it is 7:03 a.m. That's what the state is doing at the Ontario Museum of History and Art. That is P.O.C. All right, 7:04 a.m. Immediately as I stop that recording, the state creates the artificial audible activity of what sounds as though it's a train sounding, like a horn sounding. And again, this train tracks, the state is engaging in loitering on the train tracks, and this is how you are having a train physically pass while the state is amplifying that activity and occurring with simultaneity to what I'm doing. That's how you're engaging in stalking with activity as they are loitering on the train tracks. And I just want to document right now, 7:04 a.m. It didn't even sound like a train. It sounded like an animal screaming, like some sort of roaring animal, as opposed to the train. But it's audible activity of the train. That's the guise under which the state is creating that audible activity right now, as I've just documented the state patrolling via aircraft. And again, the train is another means of audible activity, just like the sirens are, just like the helicopter is, just like the sound of the state amplifying third parties in their vehicles. It is P.O.C, and I just want to document that's the same entity, all right, using another means of audible activity and doing so with simultaneity to what it is listening to me, monitoring what I'm documenting about it. 7:05 a.m., that's P.O.C. All right, I want to document 7:10 a.m. as the state has been engaging in this ongoing patrolling via aircraft. The moment that I press record, immediately digresses from that ongoing conduct. All right, this is speaking to what is and I've already established that that's exactly what the state is doing. So I don't. That's what occurred right now. As soon as I press record, the state stops its build up of what's supposed to be a takeoff right over at the museum as I press record. It's 7:11 a.m. It's 7:56 a.m. This is the combination of the use of Amtrak and plane activity also sounding and fading out as I press record. And this is under what is a cloudy day, all right? The state engaging in the same exact pattern of conduct and stalking with light. Stalking with a light source is speaking to what is a ceaseless state system, day and night. The state is stalking with a light source. The people of the state of California stalk with light as well. This is the criminal pattern of conduct, speaking to an ongoing environment. And the pattern of conduct is underway where the state engages in manipulating the environment by covering up its light source, which remains over me even when it is placing clouds in the sky and as though it is a rainy day or a cloudy day. The pattern of conduct is underway. And that is the significance of documenting what is stalking with light by the state with a light source in the sky. The pattern of conduct is ceaselessly underway, and it does not stop, as you see even at nightfall with directed light, which remains present on a quote-unquote cloudy day. It's 7:57 a.m., that's P.O.C. It is 8:17 a.m. and what you heard moments ago, that is the maintenance of audible activity, amplification of what is layered audible activity, helicopter activity with the sound of train activity, Amtrak. And while you hear what is a pulsating bass sound, deep throaty sound, the state is including sensational activity. That is vibration of the concrete while I'm laying on the north side of the museum, which is impossible activity creation. All right, the train and the helicopter and the loud sounds that the state is creating does not create an earthquake. It does not create vibration in the ground. That's the state's behavioral pattern. This is a demonic activity. While they are also inside of the museum in relevant position monitoring, I'm looking at bodies inside of the museum moving around. They're monitoring to that ongoing activity that you just listened to. And the state is creating sensational activity at the same time. That was helicopter activity, train activity, plane activity, and the maintenance of activity using the increased volume sound of what is supposed to be traffic. That's the third parties. That's P.O.C. It's 8:18 a.m. Oh, I also want to point out, you heard like a loud crashing, like a, oh, well, I can't even mimic it, but it was like a loud crashing sound. I would say it's similar to sounding like hearing a series of dumpster trucks crashing over and over again. That's the train. The state engages in using the train, and the train loiters in relevant position. So that is the train conductor. That is a state actor, loiters in relevant position on the train track. I have documented the train remaining stationary on the tracks. Over here, I have documented the train moving in slow motion, moving very slowly, and that is for purposes of stalking with activity, so that they are present. The state creates the sound, and then the train remains close in order to be physically present. Understand that the Amtrak train is the guise under which the state is creating ongoing audible activity for purposes of federal stalking. And that crashing sound was the Amtrak train that was occurring while they were. You're also hearing what is the beeping, so it's the state is creating just ongoing noise. But I just want to be clear, the state hasn't used that method of audible activity using the train. Just ongoing crashing sound, like dumpsters crashing together repeatedly. That was the train. Okay, I just wanted to document that as well. 8:19 a.m. License 56821. That's on a white Mercedes SUV. MCHNST as in machinist. All right. This is BKYF300. It is 9:05 a.m. And understand patrolling traffic is patrolling light. That's the exact same light activity which they're doing every day. All right. In addition to what you are looking at is the stalking with light. I'm going to go past, thank you. Is the stalking with light using the hazard lights. All right, and that's what I'm showing as City of Ontario is surrounding me. Omnitrans is surrounding me, and the state is amplifying audible activity while ongoing traffic is patrolling. And you see Budweiser, you want to use that company brand is going to be prosecuted and identified with terrorism and federal stalking. And that's exactly what you get as a result from that. License plate 8BKU186 8LRY432 6WHP079. And I have exited the venue of S.I.I.S Liquor, located at 410 East Hope Boulevard, inside of that plaza, which is B&G Plaza. And it is currently 9:06 a.m. That's P.O.C. What I did just capture is video so that you can see that ongoing stalking with light activity. Stalking with light conduct. License plate 6YYH336. And as I am reciting license plates, I'm doing so as the people of the state are, and the state itself, which is acting in concert with the people of the state who are patrolling, who are maintaining presence. That's group stalking conduct. You're in relevant position with the government that is stalking directly. You are stalking vicariously on behalf of that entity, while you are also, not coincidentally, maintaining light, which is the federal stalking pattern of conduct. It is also demonic activity. And so what I captured was the video of the maintenance of light, and you're looking at the same ongoing pattern with that coexisting amplified audible activity. And what was the form? The people of the state patrolling via traffic, which is extraordinarily loud. As I exit S.I.I.S Liquor, the people of the state engaging in, that's a wage of a threat while they're engaging in terrorism. And I just captured it on video as I continue to document. They're going to be prosecuted for terrorism and acting in concert with the same theme of stalking with light. That's what I captured on video. You can see that yourself. It's P.O.C. 9:08 a.m. at Ontario Town Square Townhomes. This is noise. That's P.O.C. The third-party facilitating venue of Ontario Town Square Townhomes. Eight MAV 227 enters into third-party facilitating venue Metro 102, Ontario Town Square Townhomes, number 158, loitering outside in relevant position in order to cross path. And that's just an African-American male who may or may not live there, but he is using the private residence of number 158, Ontario Town Square Townhomes, 8 TOF 787 69407 Charlie 2. I'm walking north on Plum. Traffic is patrolling light while they're maintaining noise, and understand the state's fake sun is in the same position, covered with clouds. State keeps its light source over me, 1970W2, and this third party is patrolling in the intersection. 19770W2. 8BDU 808, and that's a commercial vehicle, primary care, medical transportation, monitoring. 9:11 a.m. All right, license 5ERB373, 8XIS 254, 6ETP 013, 8XBR 835. And like clockwork, there's an amplified plane. There is no form. And these third parties that I'm documenting right now are indeed monitoring 7TFN 775, 59709B3, 7KTW 830, 5YXY 911, 8EVX 895, 7UVW 478, 8VPD 021. I'm in the parking lot of the state facilitating venue, City Hall. And that is the Ontario City Hall engaging in federal stalking. And that is ongoing documentation that I've already captured as well, acting in concert with the Ontario Police Department, even bringing the Ontario Police Department officers that have engaged in kidnapping. That's a demonic behavioral pattern by the state. That is like Jason Knighton appearing in the hallway of the Ontario Police Department the day after I'm released from kidnapping that he initiated on January 13, 2020. That is the absence of coincidence. That's a demonic behavioral pattern. And so the state's fake sun documented as I sat outside in front of this venue for the duration of the day, and doing that same pattern, rising on the left side or remaining present as I arrive on the left side of the building, i.e. east, and then remaining for the duration of the day over the same building to the right side of the building, i.e. west. All right. Ontario Senior Center parking lot at 225 East B Street. 7HDH 892 205YA. And that particular Ontario police officer was Officer Cho, acting in concert with Tracy Banks, engaging in ongoing criminal summoning, criminal defamation, and kidnapping with the intent to obstruct justice. And that same officer comes to the state facilitating venue of the City Hall. This is in 2020. And it is on the surveillance cameras because I was remaining at that venue in front of the cameras, documenting it on those grounds with that intent. And that same officer, which is the demonic behavioral pattern, that is Jay Burnett, okay, 19993, appearing at the Starbucks that I'm at to communicate a message of hostility because I'm documenting Starbucks. That is Jay Burnett appearing at the museum, engaging in the criminal elements of monitoring on camera. All right, let alone being present, you're engaged in the P.O.C. He's creating light activity, not only clearly communicating that he is possessed, he is demon possessed, he's a psychopath, in other words, and that also he's engaged in blatant federal stalking conduct. It is the absence of coincidence. And he also utters my name after we haven't seen each other. I haven't seen him. I know he's seen me because he's a stalker. But we haven't seen each other, and he knows exactly who I am. And he said it in the video, Spencer. All right, so he arrived in order to engage the P.O.C. to communicate a threat, and it is that same demonic behavioral pattern, okay? This is how, and this is familiarity. This is how they conduct themselves. This is how, and by they I mean demons. This is how demons conduct themselves. You are looking at the person on the outside, and you are witnessing, based on their conduct, their activity, you are witnessing what is a demon that is operating over this individual. That is in no way removing criminal responsibility. These are psychopaths that are trying to engage in malicious conduct, overtly, and this is the exposure of what is public corruption. But I'm letting you know the context. This is demon possession. That's the core of what is the issue of public corruption here. I can't speak for every other issue of public corruption, but this is caused by demon possession. So anyway, I am now at third-party facilitating venue Ontario over at Family Community Library. It's 9:15 a.m. And I want to be clear, there is no aversion from that ongoing evidence that already exists. The state keeps its fake sun, as I've shown also, right over my head, even as the, and I put that in air quotes, clouds, because just as the state puts a fake sun in the sky, the state engages in ongoing manipulation of the environment as you document it, and also keeps its light source over my head in doing so. And I want to be clear, the same exact light activity exists right now that I showed you yesterday. The state has changed its light, the color of the directed light, meaning it's just more subtle in color. I'm still seeing the same shadow activity, which is indicative of directed light. And as I showed you, when I'm standing in front of Shiro's Liquor, the state's light source was right there over my head, and as I'm standing facing the logo sign of Shiro's Liquor, and it is concealed. And I put that in air quotes, it is concealed, meaning it is just subdued. It's just more subtle. It remains present at, again, a conflicting time, which you would not have. This is the sun where I'm at that venue. Again, I've already documented that, but I'm just letting you know it's not changing anything. This is recognition of the state's pattern of conduct. That's a criminal. You're recognizing the tactics of a criminal, the futile tactics of a criminal, which speaks to the danger represented by the entity that's engaging in this criminal activity. All right, it's 9:16 a.m., and that's P.O.C. All right, patrolling now over 280 North Lemon Apartments, where I am at, 9:26 a.m., and a group stalker is sitting under the shaded walkway next to me, maintaining presence, just like you see at the museum. 9:26 a.m., that's P.O.C. That's immediately followed by the sound of what's supposed to be the train. And I'm sitting on the side of the library. All right? You're not actually able to hear that. That's the state. Plane, train, P.O.C. Remember this, because they're going to be prosecuted for that. It's not a mystery to find out what are the actual acoustics and the ability to hear the train. And they've done it even farther. Woodside Senior Apartments, 630 North Fern, Vine at 714 North Vine. In addition, they're acting pursuant to the demonic behavioral pattern of stalking with activity using the sound of a train. All right. It's 9:27 a.m. That's P.O.C. Stalking with activity as I uninstall applications off my phone. 9:51 a.m. That is helicopter activity.
And again, as I start recording, the state fades it out, all right? It is 9:54 a.m. I want to document McCarthy. They are engaged in ongoing audible activity creation, facilitating the state's ability to monitor, and the group stalkers that are surrounding in relevant positions, stalking, sitting around with the state that's flying around in planes and helicopters, and stalking with directed light. That's criminal facilitation and federal stalking by McCarthy. And again, they're engaging in that via the form of construction right here. It is a means of amplified audible activity and pursuant to the same demonic behavioral pattern of stalking with activity. It is 10 a.m. All right, and as I walk to the entrance and the state is hovering over the entrance in a helicopter, that is also a direct indicator, in so much as the fake sun over the venue and so much as the directed light inside of the venue is that they are all monitoring in here. And as you enter, there's a door, circulation staff only. They use that as a means of audible activity and for stalking with activity, and that's what you hear as I walk into the door. Where the state is engaging in this subduing the appearance of its fake sun, you have what is the increase of audible activity. All right, you are supplementing for that absence of that blaring, bright, directed light over my head. And so you have what is stalking with light via the people, which is what I'm showing you, the same demonic behavioral pattern. And you have what is the what you see as I walk. Instead of the state's fake sun being over my head moving, the state appears via helicopter hovering over the library. I mean, it does not get any more direct against the Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library and McCarthy that I just spoke of. This is a defeated entity. That's P.O.C. It's 10:04 a.m. I want to document 10:07 a.m. when I'm documenting on the cameras as I'm walking from the back portion behind these study rooms. And so as I walk from that location, stalking with activity is ongoing. So this is speaking to what is demonic activity in addition to criminal monitoring. All right, but I want to speak to what's the demonic behavioral pattern as I walk from one portion of the building to the other. So you have Greg. His name tag is on his. He's a tall white male. He's about 6 feet tall. He's wearing a dark gray City of Ontario uniform. And his name is Greg, G-R-E-G. He comes from the staff room right next to the study room. Right next to the study rooms, there are 2 study rooms, 1 and 2. That office space is adjacent to study room number 1, and he is stalking with activity as he exits. Abby is sitting behind the desk area on a computer. That's also for crossing a path, but he is exiting, creating audible activity. He's stalking with audible activity, doing that as I am walking. And you have what is double shadows all over while I'm moving. So directed light is in the venue. And then as I walk toward the elevator, the employee, and he is stomping up the stairs. That's audible activity in relevant position. As I walk toward the restroom, and I'm referencing the cameras, the third party that is on camera right now wearing a orange shirt with a light brown backpack, and it says Edge on his shirt. He's got on black flip-flops, and he's got like some sort of buzz cut. He's a heavy looking individual, heavy upper portion and skinny body. He's holding the bathroom of the men's restroom open, and he uses the hand dryer as a means of amplified audible activity. But let me be clear, that is form, because that hand dryer is only operating when you're holding your hands under the dryer. So it's not a dryer that remains running when you are not away from it. And he is already at the door holding it open. The door is being held open while you're hearing the dryer. So this is what I mean by not only demonic, it's criminal monitoring, but this is also demonic, and this is criminal teamwork. Well, people provide what is the outward form for what's supposed to be ongoing, natural, normal occurrences. This third party is stalking with activity, first of all, but second of all, I just want to provide the common sense aspect. The hand dryers are those that do not operate unless your hands are under it. This third party was standing at the door with the bathroom door open, and I am referencing the cameras as I approach the restroom area where the checkout area is. He's holding the bathroom door, but at the same time, the audible activity is that of a hand dryer, which is also extraordinarily loud. That same amplified activity is heard while you're sitting at the desktops, okay? This is ongoing stalking activity conduct. I'm just reciting what they're engaging while I'm moving in the venue. This is the same thing the state does with light, moving
dimming its light source to keep in alignment with me as I am inside of any venue. This is what they are doing physically and with audible activity. And I just captured the state flying over the library in a helicopter as I'm entering it, okay? This is demonic activity, and it is also criminal monitoring. And again, this is 18 U.S.C. section 2261A, both subsections 1 and 2. McCarthy is outside monitoring. The people are engaging in demonic pacing at the turn circle monitoring, all right? And they are engaging in that ongoing sexual violence also while I'm inside of the private space. The P.O.C. doesn't stop. I just want to give you an example of the demons that surround, all right, while they're engaging in criminal activity together. Those are psychopaths that are outwardly looking like they're engaging in the business of the library, that they're focused on a desktop computer, that they're checking out a book or a DVD, all right, that they're storing books on the shelves, while all they are doing together collectively is maintaining presence and maintaining audible activity. It's entirely demonic. All right, it's 10:10 a.m. and that's P.O.C.
Monitoring my internet use, flying right over 280 North Lemon Apartments, hovering over the senior citizen apartment right in front of me. It's 9:13 p.m. And as I remain inside of Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library, helicopter over the library as I enter, planes engaging in this conduct, helicopter in state's light source and directed light inside of the venue the entire time, and that entire venue engaging in ongoing sexual violence, terrorism, federal stalking. The criminal pattern of conduct ceaselessly underway by those inside of the venue, engaging in form as a patron, all right, and those that are working there inside of the venue, federal stalking underway the entire time, and ongoing demonic competition trying to obstruct publishing documentation the entire time. Just like I showed you, and just like I documented with regard to the stalking with noise as I move inside of the venue. The state is literally moving directed light all around that center area of the staircase. You see it on the opposite side. It goes down the stairs, all the way down the stairs, and it wraps around. I've captured it on all sides of that staircase, keeping directed light there all day long. And these demon-possessed stalkers are in there making any kind of noise that they have, whatever they have at their disposal, in order to stalk with activity. That's the maintenance of audible activity. They're in there together as a group, stalking with noise. Okay, these are demons that I'm surrounded by that are engaging in federal stalking. And this is occurring inside of the Ovitt Family Community Library. And they're stalking in the bathroom as well, engaging in that ongoing surveillance in the bathroom as well. And the state is flying over the library. Understand, I am subject to surveillance while my panties are down. This is a sex offender that I'm documenting, and they're engaged in an ongoing, diligent and vigorous and desperate effort to try to obstruct publishing documentation, and that is what the entity has been engaged in all day long. And I took pictures of their efforts, and again, this is no minor thing of trying to stop some random person from just getting on Facebook to upload a TikTok video about the latest dance. I'm publishing documentation while they are engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct. All right, so this is a very serious criminal activity that I'm documenting while the Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library is engaging in making up policy as they go to obstruct the ability to publish documentation, and that is restricting my ability to get on the computer. I took a picture of what is a blockage as I try to log on, and they're restricting the times on the computer now, and this is something that third parties will, again, not subject to, but as I use the computer, oh yes, they are definitely limiting the time because they want to limit that as much as possible. And so restricting that time. Understand this is directly relevant to the criminal activity that they're engaging in while they're doing that. The state is flying over their library, hovering in a helicopter, following me to and from that venue, stalking and kidnapping. And understand the Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library is fully invested in every kidnapping that I have been subject to, as I have thoroughly documented this venue engaging in criminal summoning, engaging in ongoing sexual violence, engaging in ongoing federal stalking. All right, they're engaging in ongoing obstruction of justice. And so that's what those images are relevant to. That's what those demons have been inside of the library doing all day long, psychopaths, okay? And that is going down as terrorism. The Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library are sex offending terrorists and stalking with the government, okay? And engaging in criminal facilitation of that with those who are over and under the age of 18, by the way. So you have what is the absolute maintenance of that unnatural environment inside of that venue, and as they follow me around with noise and physically and with directed light inside of that venue, while I remain inside of any space such as the study room. I was inside of study room number 2 today, and this is where they're engaging in that inhumane conduct of making noise inside of that room, stalking with activity, and this is where you'll hear random booms and bangs through the walls, just ongoing noise with simultaneity to what I'm doing either physically and or on my communication device. All right, now how does this translate? Because that's the state's pattern of conduct. Again, this is what was ongoing while I was kidnapped by the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department. That's in violation of your Title 15 rights. So this is how everything is translating from venue to venue while the state is engaging in this criminal pattern of conduct. And while you're molesting with directed light, that's in violation of the Prison Rape Elimination Act. That's PREA. All right, the government is touching you while they're kidnapping you and engaging in the sexual violent pattern of conduct while they're engaging in surveillance, listening to everything that you're doing, listening to your bodily functions, listening to you disrobe, listening and creating activity and molesting with light for their criminal purpose while you are engaged in any personal activity, any private activity as a group, okay? That is an unprecedented level of violation, sexually motivated violation of a demented entity, okay? This is of epic proportions, never contemplated by federal legislation. Just bringing the big picture of what the state is doing, and this is what they're doing inside of the library, creating this ongoing noise, stalking while I'm inside of a space, which was the study room, okay? So that ongoing maintenance of noise while I'm in motion, that ongoing maintenance of noise while I'm inside of any space, including, and that's what the state does inside of the bathroom. That's how that's translating into that sexual violence while you're engaging in this demented conduct inside of a private space. So I just want to document Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library. I'm going to prosecute for that, okay? And I am advocating on behalf of the ordinary targeted individual who shall have the equal right to enforce their legal rights against an entity such as the government, such as psychopaths of the Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library who represent the people of the state, engaging in that conduct together, okay? And that's helicopter activity at 9:19 p.m. Ongoing confirmation of what the Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library was doing all day long, just as I walked in at 10 a.m. and the state flew over the entrance, all right? Damning their own partner, okay? That's what that is. Listen to that. Flying over 280 North Lemon Apartments just like the plane was, and has remained all day long aiming directed light inside of the venue, stalking with noise. And I'm going to prosecute the Ovitt Family Community Library for that, for what the state is doing by helicopter. That's what's going to happen. That's audible activity as they turn on the sprinklers. Okay, that's P.O.C. All right, and merchants is in relevant position. I've already documented them. They're in relevant position monitoring to that. I'm going to prosecute them as well. Okay, that is P.O.C. And the state is engaging in prosecuting its own vicarious actor. That's what the state is accomplishing. It's 9:20 p.m. That is P.O.C. Oh, let me document ongoing patrolling by the helicopter. And I want to let you hear the helicopter activity while they turn on the sprinklers trying to cover up the sound of the helicopter. But to the sound of the helicopter, let me tell you this. I published today the ongoing documentation against the police officers of Orange County, the police officers of Los Angeles County, the police officers of San Bernardino County that I documented since 2018 when I became aware that the state was monitoring me. And I published that documentation online, and you can access that as well. And this is exactly what they were trying to obstruct my ability to publish. I mean, engage in a desperate effort, okay? It took hours to upload that video. And I want to be clear, T-Mobile is engaged in the criminal pattern of conduct. T-Mobile is engaged in the criminal pattern of conduct, limiting the speeds of the internet. They're not distinct. They're not separate. I documented directed light inside of the T-Mobile venue, okay? This is how vast the pattern of conduct is. And T-Mobile is included in the pattern of conduct. I want to be clear, the state is flying over 280 North Lemon, just flying in a circle like the demon-possessed stalker it is. Group stalker at Wells Fargo, aiming headlights in this direction, while the state is flying over me in a helicopter. Understand that's the ongoing communication of a threat. That is the manifestation, the knowledge of what is demon possession by the state that's flying that helicopter. Does the same thing over me on the museum when I'm at the museum ground, and follows me to the museum to do that over there. That's demon possession, and that's terrorism by the government that Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library is going to be prosecuted for. That's how that's going. Understand, Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library is facilitating this, is acting in concert with it. welcomes this demon-possessed stalker's directed light inside of its venue, limits my time on the computer in order to try to stop me from publishing the documentation about this demon-possessed stalker in a helicopter. Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library is going to be prosecuted for that. This is ongoing terrorism that it is engaged in right now. Okay? P.O.C. It's 9:22 p.m. All right, I did capture video just so you can see that, even though I don't need to. I've already established the fact. And turning on the sprinklers, by the way, that's audible activity. The state does this like the state does with street lamps. This does not matter where I'm at. When I'm in Upland, California, when I am in Los Angeles, California, and I was living in my car and I would walk to some place at nightfall, and the state turns on street lights and turns them off as I walk past them. So the state turns on sprinklers to create audible activity, especially if I'm operating a communication device. And the state turned on sprinklers right now here in front of me at the same time that I'm referencing on my podcast that the state is stalking by helicopter and that I'm going to prosecute the Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library, which I am. I do everything that I say I'm going to do, and I'm going to prosecute them. Okay, this is the stalking with activity conduct, and that is also a means of terrorism. Understand what this is translating to: the ongoing environment that the state is manipulating in every single unfathomable way, while it is stalking in unheard of fashions with planes and helicopters, okay, and with law enforcement. That's terrorism. That's terrorism as the targeted individual is subject to that sort of environment, to that surrounding, all right? And then is silenced as the state tries to defame that targeted individual while the state is engaging in stalking, because that's what it is. That's terrorism, and that's what I documented. The state turns on the sprinklers that serves a dual purpose. Not only is it it's pursuant to stalking with activity, it is audible activity that the state creates at that moment, also to try to drown out the sound of the helicopter, which does not work. And I'm clearly reciting in real time what is occurring, what I'm looking at. That is documentation, in addition to the fact that I turned on my video camera. And moreover, every time I say that something is happening, I'm very accurate with what is ongoing. This is why I also have hundreds of videos establishing the same. I don't have to make up anything. But I'm dealing with a psychopath. That is the entity. I'm dealing with demons. This is absolutely demonic, okay? And so you have what is a desperate effort. That which is of the demonic is entirely desperate. You understand that? There's a demonic obsession there. It's entirely abnormal. So I did capture some video just so you can see, and that's the state flying in a circle. Understand, that is the pacing conduct. That's pacing. That pacing conduct is entirely demonic. You just imagine somebody walking, if you're standing or sitting somewhere and someone just is walking around you in a circle. Not talking to you, just walking around you in a circle, or walking in front of you back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Because that's what the state is doing via traffic, by the people. Understand, you're looking at the pattern of conduct. You're not looking at normal traffic. Monitoring is underway. They're pacing as an entity, maintaining presence. It's demonic, right? And you're talking about this pacing conduct, walking around in a circle, flying in a circle, pacing in airplanes, license plate Correai, Correa, stalking in relevant position. There is absolutely no form. The state was just flying over me in circles in a helicopter and remains present, and they're stalking with their headlights on, parked in front of Ontario Town Square, and they're on camera. It is 9:27 p.m. So I have the video of that, of the state flying in that helicopter, and the moment that I start the video, my podcast is just as potent evidence, but at the moment that I start the video, then that demon-possessed stalker flying that helicopter, which is the state, that's the government, that's the state, okay? That's the psychopath I'm documenting. That's the very government that's engaging in this demonic conduct. And it flies off, okay? But I'm still capturing it. You can still see it. I just want to reference that. And to that soundtrack of that, like I was stating, because I'm making a point, to the sound of the helicopter that's flying over. That's why they're going to be prosecuted. And I did publish today, like I said I would, my documentation dating from 2018, as I was specifically focused on the police, because this is when the state became increasingly aggressive, which is speaking to that level of a threat that the state wages intentionally with knowledge, because they know, because they're monitoring and stalking you, that you're aware. And so as I started documenting, the police became more and more prominent everywhere that I went. So I started documenting it, specifically the police, because they were everywhere. They were everywhere that I went, every city I went to, okay, acting like they're doing whatever they were doing, but they were always around me, always around, okay? And I noticed that because I had not noticed that before. And it was very peculiar in combination with every other circumstance that I had become aware of with regard to moving away from Tracy Banks and knowledge that my privacy was being invaded in ways that I couldn't even fathom, but ways that I knew. My communication devices in my home were being tampered with. My cell phone was acting very peculiar. And even when I changed my number, it was still keeping up this same weird conduct. And absolute strangers, people that I did not know, were following me. And then as I document these third parties, the police become more and more pronounced in their presence. More and more pronounced. And I started documenting the police specifically, and I've been documenting it since 2018. And what I've been documenting is called federal stalking. And that's exactly what they were engaging in, and that's what I've been documenting. And so I published that information. It's in electronic form now, so it is viewable. You can download it. You can read it. You can do whatever you want with it. But it is for public. That's for prosecution. That's for prosecuting the state. Like I said, the Ontario Police Department is not acting alone. They are providing what is a template for not only policy, but for what the police are engaging in. This is a state system. This is a state system. The Ontario Police Department are not. They are some depraved, some seriously sick criminals in a police uniform. They have no business in law enforcement. And yes, I am speaking about the agency. Yes. Okay. But they're not acting by themselves. This is a state system in operation. All right. They are doing that which I was documenting before I got to Ontario. All right. So I did publish that documentation today about federal stalking by law enforcement. And that is while I was in Orange County, while I was in Los Angeles County, and in San Bernardino County. All right. It is currently 9:31 p.m. Ontario Police Department stalking in relevant position at the traffic light of Euclid and Holt right now at 9:30 while I'm crossing the street. And they are proceeding west at that intersection, and then they go and drive south onto Euclid Avenue, and that will be on the traffic cameras. They're monitoring. Okay, that's group stalking conduct. They're stalking in the path. All right, it is currently 9:31 p.m. On the traffic cameras, you will see a black vehicle that drives onto transit. They're stalking in the path as well. Stalking with light, meeting me right here at the intersection as I go to the museum. And that vehicle would be seen coming onto transit, provided they were not already stalking on transit. and then just drive past, because that's what the entity does. They stalk with activity, they're already present, and then they engage in crossing a path with knowledge of what I'm doing. So I currently have 1, 2, 3, 4 shadows in front of me. I'm going to document this third party. They are monitoring, and I mean, duh, the state is stalking by plane and helicopter. Okay, this is established. I'm going to get this third party's license plate. It is 9:32 p.m. and they come speeding down Transit and turn south onto Lemon to park in relevant position, and they're also in relevant position to where I would be remaining on the museum grounds. Okay, license plate 6XTZ245, and that's the state flying in a helicopter audibly. Um, 8TSY 466. Yeah, that's what I said. P.O.C. 9:33 p.m. That's a Latino male, and his audible activity is what the F? While my shadow is surrounding my body. That's what I'm saying. You're not going to get the truth out of any third party or state actor. And so that's what documentation is, what governs. Okay, this whole system is premised on form, while the state is stalking with helicopters. Well, my shadow is like 6 feet tall in front of me, and there are 4 of them. And I got to get video of this. Hold on. All right, I took a picture of that. I took video of that, and I'm referencing what is the psychopath that I'm documenting. While I document a group stalker and they act so shocked and, oh, what the, while you're monitoring, and then I have 6 shadows in front of me, by the way, in front of me, 6 shadows. I took video of it. All right, that's a group stalker. That is classic P.O.C. by a third party group stalker. Right? While the state engages in kidnapping, you hear officer, she says her name was S.I.I.S. I wrote down Scatel, but she told me her name was S.I.I.S. And she was with S. Patty and J. Arnold that kidnapped me on January. I'm sorry, not January, excuse me. S. Patty kidnapped me in July of 2020. But what I was saying, they kidnapped me on June 18th. And you hear her the other day as I'm documenting while they're engaging in P.O.C. speaking to what was a fake warrant, which is a kidnapping while federal stalking is underway. This is already established. You're talking about an entity that's just desperate, okay? Flying over my head in circles, holding on to a lie that can't hold water, okay? And just hoping that it doesn't get and that boat has sailed. I'm going to prosecute them. And so at this point, because she hasn't been thrown into federal prison yet, her audible activity is, oh, we don't do that. When I said she arrested me via a fake warrant in a fake case, and what was her audible activity? Oh, no, we don't do that. It's nothing but audible activity while she's standing under a fake sun after she blatantly, clearly engaged in kidnapping, which is an illegal arrest while federal stalking is underway. All right, you don't have the law on your side. You are the criminal. Okay, so you're talking about the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department while I'm kidnapped in the jail, and I'm holding up signs on the cameras, and they are acting shocked. Oh my goodness, no, we don't do that. It's nothing but audible activity. They're standing in directed light in the jail. The state is aiming directed light in the jail. The state is amplifying. These same employees, these medical workers and deputies are engaging in the same demonic behavioral pattern. It's nothing but audible activity. Okay, and this is what I am speaking to. The establishment of that pattern of conduct, it is legally to create that irrebuttable presumption of public corruption, because this is what it is. The entity has zero credibility.
I have literally documented how the targeted individual is literally one that is subject to rampant corruption. You will not get the truth out of the mouth of any third party or state actor. They have zero credibility, none. And what governs when you're monitoring? The elements govern, not what you claim that you're doing, not who you claim who you are, not what exception you think that you pose, because you don't. You do not. No one is above suspicion. Monitoring with communication devices is a violation, and you're going to be prosecuted under what are the elements that govern that. That environment that's maintained, you're prosecuted. You engage in any of those elements, that is prosecution, period. In addition to any acts of criminal facilitation. By the way, when you're monitoring, you are automatically engaging in facilitation, because as you create light, or as you create audible activity, or as you are in relevant position, you are necessarily, understand, monitoring is a cooperative act. You are necessarily, it is axiomatic. You are enabling everyone else. You are enabling the government to monitor. That's what the very system of group stalking is, of federal stalking is. The government is monitoring. Okay, so prosecution of third parties, you are automatically engaging in, you're automatically catching both of those charges. Very serious and severe charges. Not only monitoring, but facilitation of monitoring. And then there's everything that's included that you are engaging in while that criminal pattern of conduct is underway. Okay. So anyway, it's 9:38 p.m. and I just had to capture that. I captured a video of what are 6 shadows while that third party is over there acting shocked because he's documented. He's stalking. Okay, out of the mouth of a stalker, you're not going to get anything but audible activity. That goes for the state and third parties. It's 9:39 p.m. That's P.O.C. Flying over the museum now, because that's where I'm at. All right. I did capture that video. I just wanted to. That's exactly what the state was doing this morning. For example, when I captured the podcast this morning. Excuse me, I'm doing more than one thing. When I captured podcast this morning, on my podcast this morning, the state patrolling, which the state, as I have historically documented, engages in as a means of, it is the P.O.C, but it is also the state's means of harassment. It's like the state wants me to get up at a certain time or something. I mean, anyway, I'm just dealing with demons, okay? It's not just criminal. I'm dealing with demons. And it's fascinating dealing with the demented. But that's the pattern of conduct by the state. And that's exactly what the state is doing right now. Again, where I am is where the state is following an airplane and helicopter. And that is well established already. So you're talking about flying over the museum, because I'm here at the museum and hovering over the museum right here next to me. That's what I just captured right now on video, and I just want to make sure I specifically note that. It is 9:42 p.m. P.O.C. That's called amplification. All right, that's the same thing the state does with plane and helicopter, and that's the people engaging in terrorism. They are the guise under which that amplification of activity is occurring. That's terrorism by the people. So that psychopath on the opposite side of the museum that's stalking right now, he's going to be prosecuted for terrorism. It's one entity, okay? That's P.O.C. It's 9:44 p.m. Oh, I want to be clear, that's demonic as well, okay? That's demonic.